we like well, yeah.
And Sean is from Australia.
And so you can speak English or Australian. Yeah. How's it going?
Yeah, good. It's funny, isn't it, with Zoom, is that here we are in 4 different places in the world. It's amazing. But,
it's crazy. Yeah, it's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, we started that concept because we thought, okay, now everybody has time and we want to keep things going. We want to make interviews. So why not try some new format out, you know?
Yeah, brilliant. It's funny because we keep in touch with, not so much with My Dying Bride, but Kill to This, we Zoom just to see how everyone is, because we're so used to seeing each other. And suddenly, I mean, really, by the time we get to do things properly, it's going to be a year, you know, before we actually get to kind of be in a rehearsal room or even have a concept of playing together. But the funny thing is with Kill to This, my other band, is Mark, the guitar player, is also a producer of My Dying Bride, and he is mixing the Kill to This album now, which was recorded 2 years ago, but we just never got around to doing it, you know. So, and I've heard the first mixes and it's sounding pretty brutal.
Awesome.
No, not bad for old men. Yeah. Well, so how were your Christmases?
Well, I think I'm the only one just in the south hemisphere, you know. So here is like 32 degrees right now. So
yeah, in England it's minus 32.
Oy. It was snowing there, isn't
it? Yeah. I just the dog is my dog.
Yeah. Oh, lazy one.
Yeah. I just took him out for a walk and he's like, "Can we go home now? It's freezing."
Right. Yeah. At least you make it out. Do you have a lockdown there in Manchester?
Yeah, we've to be honest, we had the first lockdown in March, and then it kind of opened up a bit, and then they really made a bad example of the north, I think, to keep the south open because it's London. But there's now a new variant. I mean, I've had it. I had it just before Christmas. The whole family had it. And it was not good at all. And it's left us. We're clear now, but very fatigued. And my wife has a cough, and just, you know, you can tell it's not right. We don't feel right. But I think we're still. I think until they get this vaccine, I think it's going to be. I mean, a friend of mine in Germany, I don't know if you, Michael, if you know this, he said to me that under 60 years old in Deutschland, see what I did there, they're saying December next year for the vaccine. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't live in Germany. I live in Hungary right now, but I heard it like they are very late with the vaccines. They're very delayed, and it might take a year to get through, and then you can start all over again because the immunity is just valid for like 6 months or so. So
yeah, I know what everyone thinks about it. It's just so difficult. I mean, I've seen all the concerts this year come. That date's gone. That date's gone. The first one for us this year is already gone. In fact, we should be on the cruise this week. That's gone.
Right.
First one, I think, for, I can't say when or what, but we've been told the first concert for this year has been moved again to next year already. It's very difficult. I think it's difficult that it's difficult financially for everybody. It's difficult mentally for everybody. And all we want to do, you know, the beauty of this music is I'd never met you guys. I had an email yesterday, and we could go to a bar now and talk all night because we love metal. And it's a community, isn't it? And it's been a community.
Totally. Yeah.
And that's the hard thing is, you know, when you meet someone, I don't know if you've ever seen that meme, 2 guys meeting in the supermarket buying beer, and one's got a Napalm Death shirt on, and the other guy's got an Iron Maiden. It's like they're dancing away.
They're in love.
It's true, isn't it? I mean, you know, my upbringing has always been surrounded by amazing friends who love the same music, and you feel you're never an outcast. You know, you never. I look at my kids now and I'm desperately wanting them to have like a real interest, you know, and I took my middle one to see Maiden last tour. My little one loves his music. We did like a thing where we would when he goes to bed, we listen to 3 songs a night, and we did everything from Slayer, Metallica, through to Stone, all the other stuff, Stone Roses. We did the whole of the Beatles back catalogue, and it's a great education, and he has an appreciation of that now.
Yeah, awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, Metal Mind connect quickly. I mean, we three met like this too. We met at Metal Days, I think, in 2015. It was first time, 3 different continents, and instant friendship and projects and everything. It just flows, it's just awesome. Yeah.
One of my oldest friends, I met touring. He lives in Duisburg in Germany, and it's like I don't know what would have happened if someone said to me this year, if you hadn't had your music and the journey it's taken you on, it's so incredibly lucky. Incredibly lucky. Whether, I mean, you were saying to me yesterday, Federico, about going to see MDB in Europe, and just things you'll never. People you meet, places you go, gigs you go to, it's a proper life experience. And I think without this, I don't actually know what we would have done, to have to be normal and or normal, inverted commas.
Yeah.
What do you think it's going to be after this? How?
I really hope there's an appreciation of, we take a lot for granted. I say I have a business as well now because I don't and we provide machinery into pubs in England and the pubs, bars, and the thing is that everyone would take those for granted. I think since they stopped people smoking in pubs, less people will go out. And they'd be complaining that, I've gone to the bar and it's so expensive now, and I stand there with me £20 note at the bar and there's 5 deep and I can't get my beer. Now, people would love to be stood at that bar, 5 deep, because we all miss that social interaction and just being able to go out, It's really difficult. And that's what I hope, and I relate that to music in that, we shouldn't take any of it for granted. I'm just going to let the dog out. I think he's got bored of me speaking. One sec.
Okay.
Right.
I even bore the dog. And I just hope that we take it for granted that when MDB or Paradise Lost or a band playing locally, I went to see I have a friend called Ben Smith who's in a Megadeth tribute band. Yeah. And I went just before lockdown. I went to see him in a place called Stockport near here in Manchester, and there must have been 20 people there watching this band, and it was a cold, wet Saturday night in this bar. 20 people, and these guys had come from wherever to play. Brilliant musicians. Ben is an amazing drummer. I love watching him, but people think, just not going to go. I'm not going to go. So I hope that when these bands start to play again, people think, let's go and support it. Because never mind the lockdown, never mind, we're in a fortunate situation that we could still put our records out and do whatever we're doing. But the fact is, there's a lot of people behind the scenes. It's heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking that these people, I'm talking from, roadies through to, I know people who are on serious tours, Ghost and Gojira, and they're just not going to work, So let's just hope that that can come back and people appreciate it.
Yeah, there's nothing I would love to be able to go to a bar or a pub and drink. I would kill for that opportunity now. But yeah, as you said, a lot of people have suffered from this, and especially touring musicians like yourself. I just wanted to know, how have you been keeping busy in the past year, in 2020? So you mentioned you also have a company that does drink beer. Is it beer machines or something?
Cleaning machines.
Yeah. So how have you been keeping busy?
Well, we're closed basically. I think we're not closed, but I run it. I've furloughed all my staff, and I run it from home. Music-wise, we've had. Obviously, the album was finished. What do we do? We've not gave MDB. I can come to this, but I've never gigged with them. We have rehearsed. We've rehearsed quite a bit, and we've got to a good level. It's funny with My Downgrade for me because grew up liking a different type of music. It was always metal and stuff. But MDB for me has been the biggest drum musical challenge I've ever had. Whenever I've gone into bands, whoever it's always been, this is what I do. But MDB was really unnatural, and I kind of got involved very late in the recording process for the album, or came in last minute. I think I recorded it without even meeting them. But one thing I've done this year is I've really worked hard on learning that different technique which is needed to play their music. And also, I had an operation about 5 years ago on my back, which I've realised has damaged the nerves in my right leg. Yeah. So when I've been practicing, I've been thinking, why can't I play the same speed or the same technique? And I realised that my right foot has lost, what's the word? It doesn't respond. Oh. So this summer I've been working on my techniques to swivel technique. I don't know if you know anything about drumming, but just working on my techniques to get back to something where I used to be. And I'm glad, because now I know, I'm nearly 50. It's like I speak to Voltaire from Paradise Lost, who's an amazing drummer, and we talk a lot about stuff. And I look at the way he plays and this new, I call it drum gymnastics. When I was a kid, go back to 1983, Iron Maiden, Nico, Clive Burr, Ian Pace. There's a certain type of drumming which I grew up with, and I've been able to adapt my style, my playing to the very lucky situations I've been in. But now, some of the stuff like, is it James out of Vader and Voltaire, even some of these drummers, Nick Barker, I thought this summer, right, I'm going to learn it. No, I can't. It's just too hard. But I think it's, I realised that you grow up a certain way, and now I admire these drummers. But I just think that it's like a gymnastic thing. It's almost like we used to have the shred guitarists in the 80s and 90s. It's a different technique. It's incredible, really. So I've decided to watch it from afar.
But this nerve will recover at some.
No, it's been
at some point, or you just have to company.
It's what happened was the bottom of my spine came away, and I was very unlucky because where your nerves go through to your legs, there's a little hole where the channels through, and it's stuck in there. So I didn't know. So after 3 months, when I went to have an MRI scan, I had the MRI scan, and then when I went to get the results, the doctor said to me, he showed me what it was. He showed me exactly what it was, what was there, and he had to go in and take it out and clean up everything. But the worst thing was that this leg was like this, and my right leg was like this. It just wasted away. So anyway, I mean, things are great now. I train a lot, but the problem is that nerve. After 5 years, I mean, things are good, but it's definitely a response is a problem. Yeah. I don't know whether that.
Well, I hope it recovers, kind of, at least, or that it doesn't hinder you in future performances, at least. So yeah. How long did it take you to notice that there's something wrong? When you say 5 years?
No, it just went. I was playing football. We used to play 9-a-side, quite a good level. And 1 second, when the kid's kicking off. Then one of the, it just went, and I thought I've had back problems before, but this went, and it was like, oh, this is bad. And it was only over a series of months we realised it wasn't like a muscular thing; it was quite serious. So, yeah, I feel lucky, really, and I've not. We have done gigs, but I think I did. I was going back playing with Paradise Lost every summer till about 2014, and then the year after that it went. And then I've been back. I think we came back and did Bloodstock with Kill to This the year after, and that was a big thing for me because there was a time when I wondered whether I would actually play again, and it was kind of accepting that we'd have to see how it went. But yeah, now fighting fit. If anything, playing wise, the album's been so well accepted with MDB and the EP, and we're busy and we're doing what we're doing. And I've got all the new endorsements coming in, which is amazing. There's more interest than I probably ever had. So, yeah, I feel very lucky.
Yeah,
The new album is absolutely awesome. Yeah.
It's funny, really, because Mark Minert, again, we've been friends for probably nearly 30 years or something, and we've played in Kill to This and done amazing things together. You know, we were in a band called China Beach, and then we kind of just, I joined them after they'd recorded an album called Six Bullet Russian Roulette, and they had a small record deal, and then I think what happened was I met him, and then I went to live in America for a while, and I came back and I went to audition for his band, and I wasn't good enough. And it was a right kick up the pants because they were quite a technical classic rock band, you know. And anyway, one thing led to another, and I really worked on my playing. I went back and I joined them, and then we got tours. We went on tour supporting Saxon in the UK, and then we got a European tour supporting Annihilator in Europe. And what we did was we just bought a van, and we went out and went on tour. We did back-to-back tours with Annihilator and Skyclad. Then we came back to the UK, and then we went out and we did quite a big tour with the band called Running Wild. And we just did it. And we also toured with a band from America called Power, where we actually had a tour bus. But the rest of it, we just did ourselves. You know, we just kind of thought, we're going to do it. And that's the thing that I think's harder now. We were young enough and stupid enough in a way to think we're just going to do it. And we bought a van, just went. And the first night we were going to, I think we were going to Den Haag in Holland. And we were early, and we just said, "Oh, we'll just go to have a look at." We've never been to Amsterdam. We'll just go to Amsterdam, and we parked the van on the first night in the red light district. We thought we'll just go for a walk around. You know, we come back an hour later, everything's gone.
No.
Luckily, the way the equipment, they didn't get the equipment, but they got all our bags. Everything had gone, passports, everything. Crazy times. But so, you know, what I'm trying to say is that, you know, I don't know how bands work now, but I think what we were lucky enough to do in the 90s was just have that thing of, we're just going to do it. We're just going to go out, tour and push it. And we led on to, me and Mark were in Kill to This, which we formed with a singer from America, from Power actually, we toured with. And we had a record deal, which the record company defaulted on the deal. The first day we actually went back on tour with Annihilator on the next year. There was ourselves, a band called Dearly Beheaded. Do you remember those guys? Have you heard Dearly Beheaded? They were on Music for Nations. And then there was us, them, and Annihilator on a tour bus for 6 weeks. 18, it was crazy. But we'd lost our record deal the day we were going on this tour. But that year we toured with them. We toured with Dave Lombardo's Gripping.
Yeah, Gripping.
And then we went to tour with Megadeth. And we did some shows with Testament too, without a record deal. And we did 6 weeks with Megadeth in Europe, playing arenas without a record deal. But we just said, we're going to do it. I mean, it was quite unbelievable. And it was really, you know, I don't know if it'd happen again, you know, because different labels now would work with different labels and promoters. But for some band from Manchester, and we did have quite a good profile, you know, but to just go on tour and do these venues was incredible. We played to thousands and thousands of people.
That's amazing. Just that whole do-it-yourself kind of mentality. You know, just do it. Yeah.
And
that's
it was
amazing.
a sacrifice. People say to me, you know, what recommendation would you give? And I always say, you know,
just do it.
Get an education. No, have an education, because you're not always. It's like, you know, being a footballer. You can go and train, and you got to have that look. If you're in a band now, you've got to have that bit of look of the person who sees you, the money behind you to push you. There's very few bands coming through now like they used to be in the 90s, say, you know, because things have changed. You've got a different generation. But what we, just going back to Mark, is he, you know, obviously we still stayed friends and we're in different bands together, but he phoned me up one day and said, I'm involved with My Dying Bride. So this is August 18. he said, I've just suggested, would you be interested in doing the record? And I said, well, why not? You know, so I got sent some guitar tracks and some click tracks, and I just had about 3 or 4 weeks when I was at home rehearsing to them. I went away to Portugal and I was just constantly listening, and then we come back and recorded it. So listening back now to Ghost of Orion, I would maybe understanding the band better now, doing things slightly differently. But I think actually it's, you know, when I heard the songs, I thought, I didn't really know My Dying Bride that well. That's the one thing I've got to say. I know the band, but I'd never particularly listened to the band before. And they've had some really amazing drummers, really great drummers.
Mm-hmm.
But when I heard the songs, I thought, well, I've got to try and put what I feel to them, and then the producer will do the rest. And I kind of felt that the band, the songs were huge, you know. And I think if you were going to go in as a drummer and just plaster it with drums, it might not be right. So for me, it was about giving the songs room to breathe. And that's why in some ways it's quite simple, I think, the drumming on the album. But in many ways, I was rightly or wrongly, people might slate me for this, but I thought, in my mind, for a band of that stature, who really deserve where they're at, I saw it as a difference between And Justice for All and the Black Album, in that they got to a point and then the Black Album was simplistic and huge. And that's how I saw it. So, you know, and some people, luckily, most people like it, you know, and then some who hate it and tell me.
I like it.
Yeah, great.
It's amazing.
But it's very difficult, you know, I mean, it's very, very difficult to go into a band of that stature with, I've had it with Blaze, I've had it with the Iron Maiden thing, you know, I've had it with Paradise Lost, where people like X, Y, Z, all you can do is just try and do your best, you know, and hopefully it's worked out.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
And
Your guy's dropped off, like the dog, he's got bored.
Yeah. He's probably getting a beer.
Right, yeah.
You know,
Sure, where are you now then? Where are you?
I'm in Budapest in Hungary as well. So I've been living here for the last 9 months or so. Okay. So we had a cold winter here. I think it was like 2 degrees, maybe 0 overnight. Nothing too bad. But yeah, it's a bit different to what's happening back in Australia, temperature-wise. But
yeah, the fires, blimey.
The fire was crazy. Yeah.
Horrific. Those animals, man.
Oh man, 2020 was just a crazy year. Like, so much shit happened all around the world, you know, sequentially. So once that disaster was over, we had a new disaster. It was just, it was crazy.
And worse than anything, Liverpool won the league.
But they didn't have anyone in the stadium to cheer them on. So at least kind of like, you know.
It was like my last bastion of hope. I'm a big Man United fan. Massive Man United fan. So for them to win the league, like, I just turned the telly off and didn't turn it on for 2 months.
You like the summertime, Jeff?
Do I like the summertime? Yeah. Definitely. Because we had a great summer here.
Yeah, because it looks good when it's like summer festivals in Europe, and then just came into like South Hemisphere to play.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you ever played in not in South America or in Argentina especially?
Yeah, I played in. We played in Buenos Aires in about 2006, I think it was. I think when I did it, it's like Australia actually. Yeah. When I in Paradise Lost, bands didn't always go places. I think they always used to go to South America, but I think now where bands tour Australia and they just go every tour. I don't think they did back then, but yeah, we did. It was bonkers. It was a summer 2006, and we went to. I always remember this. We went Manchester to Frankfurt to Sao Paulo, where we had a layover, if I remember right. No, hang on. Yeah, Sao Paulo. And we got there. We had a day off, press day, did a gig, flew out to Buenos Aires, and then went to play in Santiago in Chile, did a gig. And we come back and we played in Buenos Aires, left after the gig, went to Sao Paulo, went to Frankfurt, back to Manchester. And then I went out to we've got a family house in Spain. And I got there, we got there like, you know, we did 3 gigs and it took a week and about 175 flights. But the best tour, I mean, I'm very lucky to have done some great experiences, but one of my favorite tours was we did a Brazilian tour with Blaze in 2002, and that was a real eye opener. We absolutely loved it. You know, amazing people, amazing shows. When we go back to what we spoke about before about taking concerts for granted, we would be going to these small towns and they'd be packed. You know, because I think people appreciated that the band were playing there, and we appreciated that the people turned up. So. Yeah. We're really good concerts.
And when you play with the Blaze band, it's like Blaze loved to play gigs in a little places, little venues, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, he was. It's well that situation. I think when I read the book about Blaze, I don't think I realised being in the band a lot of the stuff that was going on with him personally. And you know, when I left the band in 2002, we pretty much fallen out. I don't know if we ever particularly got on brilliantly, but the rest of the band, like John, Rob, and Steve, I felt we were a really good band. Yeah. We had an incredible friendship. If I knew what I knew now, I think I would have approached it very differently. You know, and I've spoken to Blaze since, and I just sort of said to him, you know, I feel bad really because I left that band and I was not happy. I think we were under pressure with, you know, personal lives, but with him and what he was going through and the financial issues, I just don't think I realised it at the time. But when I look back, the band achieved amazing things, and I think the band were an amazing band. Mm. But I think the problem we had, I don't know if you know the history of it, but I don't think that Blaze was ever going to be allowed to do well when Maiden were reforming. Mm. And I can point to certain things that happened with record label releases and management, and which they really tried to suppress what we were doing. And it's a real shame, because the first 2 albums were outstanding.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We received Blaze here in Patagonia last year with Absolva guys, you know.
Yeah.
The Appleton Brothers and so. We want to know what happened in Manchester, because there's many heavy metal stuff.
What, these musicians?
Yeah.
There must be something in the water.
Yeah. Do you know something? Those guys, I don't know them that well. I do know Chris, and I know them. I've met them, Martin and stuff. But you've got to remember that I could be their dad. You know what I mean? Because you know, suddenly, as I say, in March I'm 50, and it's like, how did that happen? But I admire them because they remind me of us in, you know, when we were younger. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think Manchester is, you know, it's an amazing place to be. And I was thinking about this before, because I knew we'd be talking. Me, again, growing up, when I was, the first band I joined in Manchester that wasn't Friends, I was 15, and I joined a band, like American rock band called Marquesa, and they had rehearsal rooms in Manchester, and it was like a really big deal. And I saw an advert in the newspaper, band want drummer. I thought, I'm going to go for it. So I turned up. I think my mum dropped me off, you know, because I couldn't drive. And they're like, well, how old are you? And I went, 18, you know. and I auditioned and I did well. And I was with them for however long it was before I went to do other things. And we did proper gigs around the UK. But there were bands, and we used to go to the clubs. I was naughty. I would be in the clubs, you know, at very young ages. And there was local bands, Sam Thunder, I'm trying to think of the names. But to me, they were rock stars, you know, and I felt like I was amongst rock stars, not UFO or Maiden or Schenker, but these guys who were in Manchester, and we had this incredible scene. And I think again, now I think at the time it was quite competitive. It'd be like, I'd do it better than that, or I wouldn't do that. But now I look back and I think I felt very lucky to have grown up with these great guys. And the singer from Marquesa sadly died a couple of years ago, 18 months ago. And I went to his wake, and I said to me, he was a real hero. These guys showed me how to be and sent me in the direction which I already knew from a very young age I wanted to go. But I couldn't have met better people to put us on that direction. What Chris and the Absolver boys are doing is amazing. They're still doing it at a good level, very talented. And I think the amalgamation of them and Blaze has been superb. Really pleased. I was hoping to play with them in November, actually, but the gig got cancelled. I was hoping to go to Manchester and get up and play with them, but never happened.
Right. Do you have some solid metal scenes here, like pubs and bars, or it's more in the underground?
The main rock pub was a place called Gillies. That went about, I think, oh God, it must be 8 years ago now. I think it's not like it was. There was a pub called the Salisbury, which we all used to go in. I've got to admit, Michael, you know, I don't go out now. I don't. I'm so busy with it. It's like, if I go out, I'm more interested, instead of the beer, I want to know when we're going to go and eat something.
Right. But young people, do you see still young people discovering metal in Manchester, particularly?
Nice. Yeah, I think definitely. And I think the difference is, who was I talking to? And I was saying the difference is, when I first went to Donington, there'd be, I mean, I'm going to try and pick a year, AC/DC, Ozzy, Rat, Motley Crue. There'd be this cross section of bands, you know, Accept, whatever. And there was 7 bands on in the day. And then in 1996, there was the main stage, Paradise Lost, Kiss, and there was a second stage, which I always remember Korn played on. Mm-hmm. Now you'll see Download has 12 stages. Mm-hmm. And what this is the MP3 generation, is that it's not like Federico going and buying Somewhere in Time in 96 and looking at the album cover and, you know, looking at the artwork and reading the lyrics. It's not. The new generation is, right, I've got Bring Me the Horizon. Okay, right, I played that the half of that. Let's play another song by Architects. You know, and that's what the festivals now are. Right, I'll catch a bit of them on stage 1, and I'm going to move to stage 9, but then I'll move to stage 5. So there's loads more bands.
Yeah.
I've just bought the dog. Wait there, wait.
I left my dogs outside this time.
Yeah, he won't go outside, I'll tell you that.
I locked my cats out just in case. Jumping over the keyboard.
We're just in the park, and there's these 2 massive dogs. He's chasing, barking at them. And when one ran back at him, he jumped onto a bench as if to say, "You can't get me." He's back again. Right. Put your mind at mate. So I think the new generations are definitely there because the festivals are popular and busy, you know. But I think what it is, it's not like, if I presume we're sort of similar generations. Maybe not you, Sean. I don't know, but you know, again, for me,
I'm close. I'm getting there.
Sean is the youngest here, I think.
Sean is a new generation. Not like
the buzz of going to see Priest or Maiden or really big bands. Where I mean, I went to see Maiden on the last tour, and they were just brilliant. They were absolutely brilliant. And the funny thing is, I think the first time I saw them was 1983. I was 12. Wow. Of all the bands I've seen through the years, there's very few bands who I've really come away and gone, I was really impressed with that. And I think sometimes you build it up so much. And I think it's sometimes not what you think it is in your head. But also, certainly when I was growing up, I can remember for the Power Slave tour, queuing out overnight at 13 years old to get tickets. Because it was so into it. And I can remember seeing Venom and Accept and Sabbath and Motley Crue and Rat and Ozzy and just what an upbringing, what an amazing upbringing. Now, maybe it's a generational thing that I don't see it the same. But I think now you find that bands go, into arenas very quickly. I don't see that whole club scene thing. You've seen it yourselves. We would do 25 shows in Germany, and you now do 3 shows in Germany. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You would do a 6-week tour, it's now a 1-week tour.
Right.
Times change.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, yeah,
yeah, just summer festivals and so many people together, more stages, more bands, short gigs.
Yeah, but I think that's what it is. It's the MP3 generation. I think it's what I was trying to say before was it's not. I mean, I don't really buy. I now subscribe to Apple Music and try and desperately find what there is new to listen to. It's not like at my mum's. I store all my old Kerrangs. I've got number 1. You remember Kerrang?
Yep.
I've got them all, and you would read through every week and just see what was coming out and be excited. I think what you guys do is amazing. Your dedication, and it's the new way, being video calls and videos and YouTube. But back in our generation, it was magazines, and you didn't have the internet to go. What's happening today? Here we are today in Steve Harris's house as he makes a smoothie.
Yeah, right. I remember paying from my pocket money the printing and the copying of the fanzine, and I was super proud. The first press pass was the first live interview was with Chuck Schuldiner from Death, actually, in Munich at that time. But yeah, I mean, I'm super happy to see such a live metal scene nowadays. I mean, we are more or less the same generation, and in our time, everybody told us, yeah, it will pass. It's just like a crazy teenage time, and here we are 20, 30 years later, Annihilator playing, Paradise Lost being there. Everybody is like still active. Even some bands I thought they will disappear forever, like Ex-Horder from the States or somebody, they're still active, playing live, doing their thing, young people coming to the scene. It's just very, very great to see, actually.
Destruction, my friend Randy plays in Destruction, and they're really busy,
Yeah. It's every festival.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're doing lots of streaming during this difficult time, and this is the main thing, though, is our generation, whether you talk about Chuck there, and we will all have people who we love and grew up with musically.
Yep.
What talent! And I think, touching on my friend Ben as a great drummer, there's so much talent. Some you won't see. Then you've got great British drummers like Nick Barker. You've got just incredible talent. We're so lucky, and we must keep that stage or get that stage back where this talent can be back where it needs to be.
Right.
Yeah.
True, isn't it?
In those festivals, you like to see another bands playing?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, it's funny. I was supposed to play. Well, I can't actually say because I was supposed to play with a band this summer and it never happened because of COVID. And on this festival, there was going to be Bring Me the Horizon, and I was looking because I would like to see them. Another band that's gone huge. It's Paradise Lost used to say to me, anyone who played with that band used to go massive. Ghost, all these bands that would support them. Gojira, I can remember I was playing with them in Morocco once. Yeah,
awesome.
No, they are big.
Yeah, Bring Me the Horizon were when I was in Kilternis, were on our label, and they've gone massive now. But I really wanted to see them. Quite like them, and I will always look. Remember seeing Anthrax and Sabbath when I played Grass Pop a few years ago. Because we're still fans. That's the whole point. You go to anybody, whether it be, the guys at Metallica, whether it be Napalm, all these bands, we're all doing it because we all still want to be, we've still got heroes.
You were talking about generations, and I was reading these days, and of course I heard in your last album, and it looks like My Dying Bride is like, after almost 30 years, has the best record, man. For the press, for the fans. It's
I
like
think
getting better.
my understanding is that I think it's like Paradise Lost in many ways, is that they had, I don't know if you know, I auditioned for them before Drac Times. It was me and Lee got it. And they went, when you've read the book, I presume, where you know the whole story of them going through the electronic period. And when I joined, they were going back to being heavier again. You can't have, with My Dying Bride, a 30-year career of just churning out the same stuff. You have to grow as a band, whether that be, I know you've got to remember there's been different musicians in there as well. This now is different. Also, the thing that's really good with this new album for them is Mark's production is exemplary. He's a fantastic producer, but the producer's job isn't to govern, you know, the songwriting. It's to govern how it's perceived, how you hear it. And I've always felt with it, you know, I may have ideas. I'll tell you a story. I went recording 10th Dimension with Blaze, and we walked in one morning for to listen through to the stuff we'd done the day before, and I'm listening to this song, and I'm sat there with Andy Sneap, and I'm sat there giving, yeah. And I said, that fill there, the drum fill. He went, yeah. I said, I don't remember playing that, and he just went, you didn't. Because you couldn't, yeah, he just reworked it.
Crazy.
But yeah, but what we were saying, I think my understanding from My Dying Bride is to have that amazing career, that incredible fan base and support, is the situation they're in and have been in for the past 5 years, which has been really tough for Aaron and the band, because, you know, there's been lots of changes and difficult times. They've come back with a triumphant album. It's not always going to be everyone's cup of tea. It's not going to be everyone's favorite, but the album certainly is strong. The record label, supportive and strong. It's a great position for the band to be in, I think.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Definitely.
We all heard the last record, and it's awesome. Production, the music. Yeah. So
yeah, perfect.
That's really good. Thanks, guys. It's important. But, you know, I can remember with Paradise Lost and signing to Century Media, it was the timing was really good, and we did the Enemy video, which was a bit different at the time, and then big tours and all. But MDB have done this now with Nuclear Blast. It's the right time to sign to the right label who get the band. You know, there's no point in signing to EMI if EMI are just going to sit you there. Nuclear Blast understand metal and have done since the days I remember when they were a small label. You know, it's about community. It's about understanding the music we love, and I think it's important. It's got to be a team. What's sad is this year we've not been able to go and take that out onto the stage.
Yeah.
Hopefully 21 will be different.
Yeah,
well,
hopefully this year.
There's some really big gigs in this year. We just hope they go ahead, you know, because the band they don't tour. They don't tour like, you know, some of these bands that do 6 weeks, 7 weeks. They're never going to do that. But you know, the whole point is to do high profile gigs to get to as many people as they can in the right you know places.
Well, hopefully by the European summer, things will be back on. I don't know. I guess you can't plan anything now. It's unpredictable. We don't know what's going to happen. But I would love to see this album played live, and, you know, at least see the band live somewhere in Europe. Fede, if you're going to come to Europe, aren't you? Or
yeah, well, I want to, and it's the best excuse to go to the summer festivals in Europe. You know, first because I love music, and then because it's summertime. I love that.
The best festivals. I mean, you've been to Grass Pop is brilliant. It's such a good festival.
That's Manchester, yeah. That's Manchester.
No, Grass Pop.
That's Belgium.
Oh, Belgium. Ah,
yeah.
Okay.
But then you've got the one I don't think we're doing it this year, but Summer Breeze in August. That's just the atmosphere and yeah, it's just honestly fantastic. Sometimes I think when the year that I knew I was leaving PL, we did a whole summer of festivals, and I think I always remember I'm quite good friends with Marcus from Halloween, And I was at Summer Breeze, and I was feeling quite sad, because I was coming to the end of this time. And he just got me in a headlock, and he goes, "You will not leave," like this. But that night, I was just going on stage. I was looking out over this crowd, and it was at dusk. It was going dark, and I just thought, wow, how much. When I was a 12-year-old kid, loving Maiden and knowing where I wanted to go, and I thought, just look where I am today. Honestly, just dead lucky.
Yeah, but you studied, you make a lot of things to be in the position that you are right now.
I think, Frederick, a lot of it is sacrifice, because you have to be at the right place at the right time. Like I can say, with PL, I would have loved to have done Draconian, and that would have been a different route. But whatever you do in your life, whether it's business or drumming or mechanic, whatever you do, and you guys too. I've got an opportunity to interview Lars. Right, where did that come from? What I'm saying is, you take your opportunities. I tell you, in '94, I came back from living in America, and I thought, what am I going to do now? And I made, like you guys, like Michael was saying with the fanzine, I made a proper magazine, like a biography. I had a proper photo shoot done, photocopied it, did a cassette tape of live stuff, and I sent it out to 200 management firms. I got booked to audition for Paradise Lost. I got a phone call one day. This guy, I was living at my mum's back then. Guy rings up, he goes, "Hello? Hello? Is that Jeff?" I went, "Yeah." He says, "I've got your tape." Right, okay. "I'm going to put it in my office." "Oh, okay, well, thanks for letting me know. Who is it?" "Peter Grant." And it was Peter Grant, manager of Led Zeppelin.
Wow. Insane. Yeah. Nowadays this wouldn't happen anymore, I think.
No, but he never rang again.
But at least he had your tape.
Yeah, but you see, you can also, I must get this, let you know these. 2002, I'd left Blaze, and I thought, what am I going to do now? And I got a phone call one day, and it was Biff from Saxon. And he said, I know him because we toured a lot and stuff. And he said, my old drum tech had worked for them, and they were looking for a drummer. And he said, "Do you want to come down and do a couple of days in Lincoln, rehearsing?" I was like, "Yeah, of course." So I put the phone down. I was like, this is it. This is where I wanted to be. That's it. Wheels of Steel every night, and growing up being a Saxon fan and all that stuff. And he sent me a tape, and the stuff was so complicated. And I went to Lincoln, and I couldn't play it. It was the worst situation of my career, and it was really embarrassing. It wasn't for me, because we didn't do Wheels of Steel. We did all this 200 BPM double bass, and it was not for me. And that was a shame, because I thought at that time, and I knew all the guys, and I thought, well, this will be it. But it wasn't. But I'm still very proud to have done it.
Right. How does Paradise Lost and My Dying Bride actually compare drum-wise? Like, it's very different. You mentioned already, it's a very different approach.
Very different. PL, I've not played live now with PL for 6 years. But if I was to go on stage now, don't get me wrong, some of the new stuff that Waltz plays is quite complicated. I've been trying to learn some of it. He's an amazing drummer. But the stuff which I had to do before, previous, etc., if I was going on stage now to 100,000 people, I would be able to put my click track on and off I go. I get it. I understand it. It's very groove based. That's the thing, is when we talk about drumming gymnastics, I was a groove drummer. I think Randy Castillo, I think Tommy Lee, that's where I come from. I'm not, I was never like a Lombardo player. When we were kids, growing up in all these bands, I had friends who used to just get behind the drums and just go for it. I wasn't that player. For me, it was feel. And with MDB, it's very much following guitars. So there's no, the difference is there's no what I would call momentum, whereas you're really following the guitars. It's almost, and the structure of the songs is quite complex. So it took me a long time to get my head around it. And I think what would be in rehearsal, and you know, we'd finish a song, and I'd look at Andy, and if he didn't say anything, it was all right. You know, I know it well.
I see. Right.
Yeah. Otherwise, you just get a proper bollocking. But luckily, he's not been saying much in rehearsal last time, so I think we're doing okay.
So how did you actually get started with the drums? Was it was that the instrument that you gravitated towards as a kid, or did you try something else?
No, my dad used to play keyboards, and I couldn't be bothered with that. And my friend one day, he had we would play football and team together, and I was about 10 or 11, and he had a Pearl Maxwin drum kit, and it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. And at that time, I was getting into Maiden and Priest and DC. And then I bought a set of drums. It was a really old 1960s set. And I actually got these like concert toms and then this drum kit. And I got a pair of bongos, and I tied them up with shoelaces. So I had drums that went along the front, like Nico, you know, like my brain. And it just progressed from there, really. I never took lessons, played to records, and then just played in bands. And just I knew very early that I wanted to. I understood the drumming. I understood. I've never been a rudimental player. It's always been about songs and groove, and yeah, that was it really. I think I kind of always knew back then which direction I'd go, and it
felt quite natural to you. Sorry.
Yeah, I think so. I think what happened was, this is really important actually. You play and you play and you play, and then the more you get into bands that tour, the less you play. So you're not meeting in a rehearsal room 3 days a week and you know, going for these mad riffs and stuff. When I did Deviate Built to This, which still sounds amazing to me now, the grooves move a couple of BPM this way, a couple of BPM that way. And we spent a month just to guitars and drums, nailing it. And these incredible grooves, which we were doing Linkin Park before Linkin Park, you know, going out with this massive like 4-track tape recorder, so with the click track one way and samples the other. We were doing that in the, you know, very late 90s. But it's funny now because the drum company I've just signed to, I've signed Nico. Nico's with them, and Nigel Glockler's with them now. You know, it's funny. I feel really honoured to be in that kind of company.
Yeah, sure.
We all have heroes, you know. Simple as that. And then the funny story goes, so I'm sat in the office at this drum company, and we're talking about just stuff. And he says, so he said we're signing a drummer, and I didn't know who it was actually, but he said, who's your favourite Maiden drummer? And I went, Clive Burr. I said he was just an outrageous drummer, his speed and his accuracy. And then they went and signed Nico McBrain. And he said, the guy, my artist guy says, do you want to rethink that? I was like, yeah.
Cool.
Look him in the eye.
Yeah. I mean, it got so complex, drums, and I think when I watched some reaction videos actually of drummers nowadays, they're so awesome. The complexity of drum playing nowadays in metal. It's just mind-blowing what I see.
That's it. This is what we're saying. It's so drum gymnastics, you know. But to me, when I hear Vinny Appice, you know, who was with Dio, when I put on Last in Line, I still feel like I did when I first heard it. The drums are huge and grooving, and you know, which I don't know if I feel that. The last drummer, I think Charlie Benante is an outrageous drummer. He's so good. Dave Lombardo is just a hero. He was, to me, the old school of, you know, he's not one of these sample drummers who tip, tappy, tippy, tappy, tip it. He's not. He's like, he's so good. But a lot of these new drummers, there's a lot of sampling going on, and they are playing, but they're what I call tippy tappy drummers. I wish I could do it, don't get me wrong. But it amazes me when I go through YouTube and I see some of the complexities of how they play. Don't get it. I just don't.
Yeah,
get
it's
it.
amazing.
Yeah. Right. What's your latest discovery of new metal bands or albums?
I really like Architects.
Yeah.
I think they are brutal, British brutal. I think, but they've got the one thing which I've got to admit, that bands like Vader, I watch them because of the drummer, I think, and I just I'm blown away. But I don't feel it the same as when I see. I don't know, like I say, I'll give you the example, Architects or whoever listened to this. I just, there's bands that I still need to hear melody and I still need to hear a chorus. I listened a lot this year to back to Dream Theater actually, and Octavarium, and just mind-blowing songs, which you could say, well, actually, they're just like modern versions of stuff from the 60s and 70s. But to think like that and to be able to play music so complex but make your heart sing, I love it. Absolutely adore it.
Yeah.
Who else? I like I was just to mention before, Bring Me the Horizon. But I've done a lot of going back this year, listening to bands like Accept and loads of bands, just stuff I listened to as a kid. Could be Black and Blue. I don't know if you remember them. They were like an 80s band who were well ahead of what they, what people were doing. Really good songs. Just trying to Rat, even amazing songs. But I think going back to what we're saying about magazines is I can't sit there and go, right, if I get Apple Music up now on here, what we're going to listen to? Probably something from 1985.
Old school music.
Yeah. Old school.
Like this, a magazine, everything like this.
Yeah.
Like this
I was talking to, I was just doing some work the other day, or a couple of weeks ago, a few weeks ago, and I came across, I don't know if you've seen it, Rob Flynn did some interviews and blogs, and he had an interview with Andy Sneap, and of course I've worked with Andy now for over 20 years, whatever, and I've just sent a message to Andy. It was a brilliant interview. It talked about, when he first was helping with Burn My Eyes and all that production. And I sent him a message and I had a little chat with him. And I was just saying to him how him joining Priest and playing live with Priest, I said, that is, when I said before about every single one, whether it's, we've all got heroes. And I said to you joining Judas Priest, I said, it must be like Roy the Rovers. Do you know what Roy the Rovers is? It was an English football magazine where, this guy becomes a world-class footballer. And that's it. All the things that we dreamt about. That when Michael, name your band you first went to see.
I don't know.
You're playing the.
Sean, who did you first go to see?
AC/DC was the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you were at that gig, you just thought, sorry, Federico, what was that?
For me, it was Megadeth when I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, so, when you're there and you're at a gig and you're watching it, you're thinking, oh my God, I have to be a part of this, which you are because you support it and you do your output. He's doing it, and he's doing it to the highest level. And he's telling me about getting the helicopter into Sao Paulo Stadium, and it's just great. I'm just so proud of him. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
But you see, the story goes. My friend who plays for Steve Harris.
Okay.
He used to live around the corner from Steve Harris, and when he had a band, he dropped a cassette into Steve Harris's. This is years and years ago. And Steve Harris got in touch with him and said, "I've heard your cassette. Thanks for dropping off." And they became friends, and now he's in his solo band.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's awesome.
I think Steve Harris band played in 70 Tons of Metal cruise.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but that's it.
So it's who you know as well. Yeah, it's who you know, relationships, and friends, and you want to play with people that you like and that that you get along with. And
definitely, I think that's the thing. I think as I say, MDB for me has been a challenge because I didn't really know them. I and I had to learn a new way to play. But before that, I mean, when I remember back after the Saxon audition, I was thinking, where do I go now? And then I turned on the internet and I saw that Lee had left Paradise Lost. So I just sent a message to Andy Farrow. I'd always been in touch with their manager. So within 2 days, I'm at rehearsal room in Bradford with Rhys Fulber, playing through these songs. And then a week later, I'm recording an album. And then the great thing with it was that we were always, particularly Nick really, and Aaron, we'd stayed friends, you know. And when I went to play with them, it was like I'd always been there, you know, and fitted in with the humour and just the personalities. And even when I went back after I'd left in 2008, I was playing with them every year. It was like I never left, you know. I mean, there was talk of me going back, and I just couldn't do it because of my family situation, which is a shame. But I just looked at it and thought I would love to go back, but I couldn't do it. But having said that, I love that. You know, we're always having banter together online and stuff. But I love how good Obsidian is and how where they are and the quality of the writing, and it's great, really great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice. Pretty good. Guys, only more because maybe this guy is going to be busy today.
I've got to get these decorations down.
Beautiful tree, yes.
Christmas is over.
I'll tell you what, if we book another Zoom call for June the 7th, I might just have finished putting them away by then.
Right. Can send you a reminder.
Yeah.
I live here. I live about 4 miles from Manchester Airport. And when I turn the lights on at night, I'm getting complaints.
Okay, man. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was really great talking to you. And
thank you.
we will publish it the next days on our channel. And well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jeff, for your time.
I hope very much that we get maybe this summer, you know, to sit and have a beer together.
Fingers crossed, man.
Great. Summer breeze or somewhere.
Thank you so much, Jeff, and hope to see you with the Dying Bride or another project also here in South America in the next summer, maybe.
That'd be great. It would be great being on that. So,
thanks for your time, Jeff.
Thank you so much. See you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye.